Are you estranged from your family and wondering what you should know? Well, in this video, we're going to dive into expectations, unrealistic expectations, how they participate in estrangement, and 3 keys to get you towards your goal of either reconnecting and or personally growing as a result. I'm Marie Morin. I'm a therapist and a wellness coach. Let's get started. So the first key is knowing the difference between realistic and unrealistic expectations. So all families have a degree of expectations of how the family behaves with one another. The unrealistic comes in when there are shoulds about how someone should behave. Okay, so let's say that you have this idea, or the other person has this idea that blood is thicker than water, or you should always respect your parents, no matter what that entails, like it's their way or the byway. So the unrealistic expectation is this should that the other person must comply with. So let's suppose that a family member becomes ill, like a mom, and their siblings. And one of the siblings is convinced that the other sibling should share equally in the act of helping care for the parent. So let's unravel this. Let's say mom gets sick and she needs help. And sibling A is all about, okay, we should all share responsibility to care for mom. But sibling B is like, well, I just can't. I have a full-time job or whatever. Sibling A is all about, well, you should do this. This is what is right. This is what is wrong. In estrangement, what often occurs is that are these unrealistic expectations placed on the other person so that there's no way that someone could fit in the demand. If one person just cannot for whatever reason, and the other person is demanding, this difference creates a great divide. So expectations come out of our upbringing, the time period that we were born in, also our culture. So how do we unravel having an expectation from someone? Well, what happens is, and really the basis of many estrangements, is that when someone doesn't live up to the other person's expectation, it's considered a violation to them. The second key is that violations bring about judgments. And the judgment can be something, let's go back to our example with the sibling. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with them? They should want to take care of mom. After all, it's their mother. They should want to help. Or they're my brother or sister and they should be there for me. They should do this. They should do that. So, you know, we've been talking about Carl Pilmer's book, Fault Lines, Fractured Families and How to Mend Them. In his book, he gives this quote: expectations are resentments waiting to happen. And so in these judgments and in these hurt feelings, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that, can come a lot of resentments. When we have that resentment, it further erodes the relationship. And the third key is there is no overall rule for many family values. For example, there's no rule that says, oh, the money that from an estate has to be shared this way or that way. And there's no rule overall that says, oh, this person must help this amount or that amount. And because of these differing values and the idea that there's judgments and these unrealistic expectations, the estrangement really is tangled. So how do we gain insight so that we can untangle, like we learned in the last video, about taking responsibility and seeing the other person's point of view. So one of the ways that we gain insight is understanding our own expectations of another person, or also understanding, wow, I really was put under a great deal of stress due to someone else's expectation, and then being able to understand where they're coming from. This does not apply at all when there's cases of abuse. It's a really black and white thing. Abuse is always wrong, and when there is abuse, there is absolutely no other alternative than to estranged from the abuser. One of the key things that Pilmer asks and to consider in gaining insight for personal growth and to help you if you desire to reconcile with your estranged family member, is the relationship worth ending because of the failure of my family member to live up to my expectation? So you may be thinking, okay, yes, there were demands. There were a lot of shoulds. There were unrealistic expectations, but there was so much more. There were arguments about this and that, and you would be correct, because estrangement has a lot of complicated facets. There are often many things that go on at once. And it could be years of behaviors and disappointments and a lot of demands, or maybe there were implicit or explicit expectations that you could never live up to, creating a lot of discomfort. But what about family estrangement, particularly adult children, and having expectations towards them? Any of that going on for you? If you're in that boat, you will want to watch my next video, Estranged Adult Children, How to Stop Expecting. Leave me a comment. Has this been helpful for you? What do you think about expectations? Have you been under expectations? Hit the like and subscribe so you can get more of these videos, and ring the bell. Okay, see you in the next video.